Hello and welcome to Mystic Visions with DrShiny. This is a monthly reading for Gemini for the month of April. So hello all out there to all my Gemini friends. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And I am very happy to draw a couple of additional cards at the end of the reading for anybody who requests so, who is a subscriber to the channel. So the general readings tend to be a little bit more broad and apply to everybody, but if you'd like a more personal reading, I will do that within the comments, so just let me know. So let's go ahead and get started with your reading, Gemini, for April. Okay. Interesting, we got all reverse in the current situation. Wow. Okay, so you only have two upright cards. Okay, so me personally as a reader, I consider the overall layout of the cards and everything to be almost as important as the individual meanings of the cards themselves. So what we have here is a lot of resistance from you here with so many reverse cards. There is, I think, a situation here that's not been, going the way that you want it to go. But this is very strongly an opportunity for you to kind of change your mindset and to take the reins of what's going on here. To not be afraid of what's happening. Okay, so there's some initial thoughts, but let's get into the meat of your reading here. So you have the Knight of Cups, and it's in the reverse. I'm sorry, I was pointing to the wrong card. This is the Knight of Cups, and moving from your past, you have this Knight of Swords. So you've got two Knight energies here side by side, and you're moving from swords to cups. But before I get too ahead of myself, the Knight of Cups in the reverse here is being a little bit resistant to going with the flow or being in touch with your emotions and things like that. It could be that there's been some negative emotions that have reared their ugly head lately, and so you've become a little bit emotionally shut down. That might be almost like a coping mechanism. It might be something for you to get through the situation a little easier. But for whatever reason, you're not very comfortable with just like going with it or letting whatever happens happen. And what you have crossing you is this Two of Cups. Now, the Two of Cups normally represents a balanced, harmonious relationship and that kind of thing. But, and crossing can also mean like influencing you. So you could be seeking after this. This could be something that you're really wanting. But it could also be that having to maintain this is becoming difficult or hard for you, or there has to be a little bit too much effort, or it's just putting a stress on your ability to handle the situation, to juggle things. And you have the Two of Coins, which is juggling in this reading too. So we're gonna see what's going on here. But immediately you have two knights right here side by side, and then you have two twos right here side by side. So that's a triplet, and so there is some strong cohesion with this reading. Now, for that future card, what you're moving toward here is the Seven of Wands. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even tell you the past yet. Okay, so you're moving away from the Knight of Swords. And then the Knight of Swords in the reverse here is a tendency not to be so quick to think things through. This could have possibly been what led you to this nice Two of Cups relationship to begin with. And I should say that the Two of Cups doesn't always represent a romantic relationship with like another person. It can also represent a sort of harmonious balance within yourself. But it tends to be, of all the cards in the deck, it tends to be the most strongly associated with relationships in my experience, even more so than like the lovers or things like that. But this Knight of Swords, not jumping in and jumping to conclusions, thinking you know things, or thinking things have to be a particular type of way, is probably, conducive to this Two of Cups energy. But you're moving away from that a little bit, which means you may be inviting in that sort of the what ifs, the thinking about, could this be going differently than I think it is, or is somebody going around behind my back, or are things not quite as great as I think they are, right? So that's kind of the transition that you're going through here. You're moving away from being resistant to letting those thoughts inform your behavior, or jumping to conclusions, and you're moving a little bit toward this situation you found yourself where you're a little bit less go with the flow. And then what you're having in the long run here is the Seven of Wands in the reverse, and that is an unwillingness to defend yourself or to justify what you're doing, or having to sort of lead someone on a particular path. So this is what you're moving towards. So, you may have had this sort of like this leadership role in the past, that you were kind of trusted with this role. But in the future, you don't want this. You're not trying to defend yourself or to prove yourself. Prove yourself is really better to anyone. You want to feel, and so there's a kind of an odd reciprocal energy that's going on here. Your feelings toward others about maybe possible distrust or something like that are a mirror of your feeling about how others think about you. So it may be that you're not being completely forthcoming or honest or open, and so that's becoming reflected in what's going on around you. So be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for, if you're feeling some sort of negative feels or emotion, or your intuition is kind of like not feeling great. Ask yourself, is that really the product of the external circumstances or what's going on around you, or is there something going on internally that you're not being completely open or honest about? Because they can feed off of each other at the very least. Now, your foundation card, which is kind of like, where is this whole thing coming from? What is the lesson that's being learned, or what's the universe trying to teach you? Also, what's going on in your subconscious? It was this Two of Coins in the reverse, and this is a resistance to juggling, to having a proper like work-life balance. So you may be finding it difficult to sort of to have a happy home life and to focus on the career at the same time. You may be thinking that that's a little too difficult, or you may be a little tired of doing that. So you're a little bit resistant to that. So it's asking you, are both of these things important to you, or are you kind of juggling for no reason? Are you doing something that is not really leading you to your best life? And that's not a question that I can answer for you. That's a question you have to answer for yourself. That's the reason that this situation has come about. So the answer is not clear yes or no. It's providing you with this situation, with these feelings, to test whether or not this is what you want, whether you're going to stick it out, or if you're going to shake things up a little bit. And this, it doesn't have to be a relationship. It can be like this could be a description of like a job. It may have been a harmonious job in the past, but it's starting to make you feel like maybe this isn't got a future like it used to. And so you're asking yourself, well, do I want to make a change or not? And the way the Seven of Wands would work into that metaphor is if you quit, if you kind of leave behind your coworkers or whatnot, are you going to feel like you need to defend that decision, or that you are doing the right thing, or that there is a good reason for you to make that transition, or are you being a little rash or impatient or whatnot? So it doesn't necessarily have to relate to a romantic relationship. This could very well be anything else like that. It could be like a job, or it could be just a situation that was working out, but now you're having second thoughts. Your crowning thoughts is the King of Coins in the reverse. So what I tend to think about this is you're not as successful financially as you want to be. And, whether it be because you're having to focus too much on the family, or because the job is just not meeting your needs and you need to go out seeking something grander, you're focused on becoming a little bit more of a master in this material realm and getting something done, becoming a little more of an entrepreneurial type of a person. And you're not quite where you want to be, and you're focused on that. You don't feel a whole lot of confidence in that financial material realm. What is your advice is this world, the world. And the world represents an understanding of completion or victory, and that what it really does, it's not the end of a situation, but it is just leading to something new, right? So there is no sort of end goal in this, is what you're kind of being told here. There is only the next thing. There's only what you move on to next. There's no way of feeling successful. So this could influence your decision a little bit here, because you're never going to find a set of external circumstances where you think, okay, I've made it. Here I am. I've achieved it. You're always going to be chasing after more. You know what I mean? I mean, think about it. Even, celebrities who have everything, who have all the money in the world, they're still trying to put out that next album. They're still trying to do that next thing to get bigger, to go a little bit further. And so, and you can sit back and think, well, boy, if I had half of their success, I'd be happy. But that's you. That's not them, right? And you're not them. All right. So you're going to always find in your personal situation that there's always something more for you to chase after. The grass is always greener is the cliche, and it's a cliche for a reason. So incorporate that into your decision-making process. Are things really not working out the way that you need them to be, or are they just not working out the way that you want them to be? And if that's the case, then it may take a little bit more internal work than external changes to make you feel this sense of satisfaction that you're looking for. Your advice, you have the devil in the reverse, and I'm sorry, that's not your advice, that's your environment card. Sorry, this card, the devil in the reverse, is your environment. And so the devil kind of plays on your desires. He tries to control you by what you want, or what you're trying to achieve. This very much represents sort of ego and all these things. But around you, the environment doesn't necessarily refer to you. In fact, it usually doesn't. It's really an influence of somebody close to you, or a group, or the general climate around you, right? And so this is resistant to that whole devil mentality. So somebody is influencing you to be a little bit more self-sufficient with what you're seeking after, or what your goals are, instead of feeling like you're led around by desire, by having a sort of sense of inner peace. You know what I mean? And so this, I think, is a good example. I think this refers to a role model, or a mentor type, who has been speaking encouragingly to you, but you may have been kind of like brushing off what they were saying. But it may be time to revisit and understand that this is a very good source of information and advice for you. Okay, so the Fears card is the Ten of Wands in the reverse. Okay, so this is a little interesting to have this card in the reverse in this position. The Ten of Wands in the upright represents being a little bit over encumbered, but it's more than that. So the Ten of Wands is a it's a completion of understanding. So with like wands, for example, or any of the suits, they have a particular meaning or an energy about them. Wands, it's action. It's action. So the journey from the ace to the 10 is about being educated, so to speak, in the nature of action, about understanding what action really is, or putting it in its place. And then when you go through the court cards of the page up through the king, this is sort of a journey of mastery of that particular element. But you can't really master a thing until you know or understand what it is, So before, you're kind of like a child learning how these things work, and then you get into the upper mastery of things. Now, the tens with like cups, with emotions, there's a joy at the end of that journey. A really great joy. And with coins, there's this tremendous material abundance and satisfaction of being able to do whatever you want, pretty much. With wands, on the other hand, there's quite a more grim meaning at the end of the road here, and that is there is no end to the number of things that you could do, right? There's always something else to be done. But as you grow older, you're going to have less and less capability and capacity for doing all these things. So you're going to have to inevitably let some things go. And that is really the final lesson of understanding the nature of action. It's not about doing everything. It's about really selecting and focusing something to do, and to prioritize your action, to act efficiently, and not just, it's got to be quality, not quantity with action, because otherwise you'll run yourself ragged and you'll die a very early death, have a heart attack, all those nasty things. So, in the fears position, and this being in the reverse, it's kind of like you're afraid of learning those lessons. There's a tendency for you to feel like you need to put more effort in, or that you don't want to be lazy. So you might have a tremendous work ethic or something like that, but it might actually be hurting you a little bit in this situation rather than helping you, because this isn't really a situation of more needs to be done. This is, you gotta fix your mindset. Your mindset's holding you back a little bit here. So if you are constantly feeling as though you're not doing enough, then there may be something that you need to kind of adjust your baseline for how you accept yourself, or how you judge your own level of activity, or what you've done. Okay, so overall message here is this 9 of Wands. And this is kind of like where you're headed in the long run too. And keep in mind that 9 of Wands is the lesson that comes before that 10 of Wands. So you're going to get there to that 10 of Wands understanding. You're going to have to figure that out, but you're not quite there yet. What you're worried about is getting to this 9 of Wands location. And the 9 of Wands is he's been through some battles, he's been through some tough stuff, and he has a tendency to, or he can have a tendency to be a little bit afraid of what's gone on, or skeptical, or things like that. But this is about rising above all of that, and in spite of the injuries, in spite of getting banged up a little bit, having the confidence that comes from the victory of getting through those things, and knowing that you have that power, that inner strength. So this is going to be a really big source of strength for you to tap into through this. It's not necessarily about accomplishing more, but it's about having this sort of inner strength that allows you to stick with something even when sometimes it feels like it's not working in your best interest, or what doesn't kill you makes you stronger is the idea here. So things that you might not think are working out for the best are in a way tempering you to be a stronger individual, and in the long run, if you're worried that you're not accomplishing all that you need to accomplish anyway, well, you better get used to that feeling. And you better, because as you get older, you just lose the ability to do more and more things. And so you have to be able to find that sense of inner satisfaction with yourself. Otherwise, you lose the confidence which enables you to do anything, right? And so really strong people, especially when they get older, strong people are the ones who carry that confidence forward with them, that, you know, they lived a good life, they did what they wanted to do, or they did what they could do. And I think it was Walt Disney who said, you know, if you've done your best, why worry? You know? So that's what it is about. It's not about getting more things done, but putting your heart and soul into the things that you do, and cutting out the things that are not a priority. So pretty good reading. As I said, if you would like something that is a little bit more specifically tuned to you, I'll be happy to draw a couple additional cards for you if you just request that in the comment section. Please leave me some comments about what you liked and what you didn't like, if it resonated and everything, and or just say hi. I love being social too. So I'll see you guys next time, and thanks for watching as always, and this has been DrShiny.